Okay, welcome you guys. My name's Chloe Ballatori, as I think most of you know. I'm a relationship and communication expert. I am a graduate of Princeton University and Pat Allen's Want Institute. I teach tools of androgynous semantic realignment, which is Dr. Pat Allen's work. I teach the tools of transactional analysis, which is Eric Burns' work. And I also teach tools that I created myself because I've been doing this work for over 10 years now, over a decade. I'm also over 20 years married. And so this work changed my life. And that is how I found it. And that is why I am spreading it to other people, because often when people go for help in relationships or mental health, dating, communication, self-help, it can be very hard to find help that actually transforms your life, that actually changes things. There's a lot of emotive therapy available where you go and you talk about your problems and yourself, and you have someone reflect that and mirror it back to you, and that's often helpful, but and feels good and important, but it ultimately doesn't affect a change in your life. And so for me, I got really frustrated with that. I got frustrated with therapy in general. And it wasn't until I found this work that I was actually able to grab a hold of something, a rubric for which I could change my life. And that's what I really wanted, because many of us are stuck in patterns from our childhood. And when we have any kind of trauma from the ages of 0 to 12, and of course there are exceptions, but most people have some kind of trauma between the ages of 0 and 12. Whether it's trauma with a big T or a small t, in this particular context doesn't matter as much as just the fact that it was there. We develop coping mechanisms. And in our childhood state, we think that these coping mechanisms are existential truths, but they're actually just survival conclusions that are strategies of the moment. And we need to use to get along with the people who own the refrigerator where we're at, because human children are very dependent, right? We're not born independent like some other species. So from the ages of 0 to 12, we go through a lot of critical windows of development. And so anything that happens in that time ends up impacting us more deeply than anything that happens later. That's why there's been a big movement recently to identify the PTSD that people get from childhood trauma as separate from other kinds of PTSD, like the ones that soldiers get, or that you might have from an isolated traumatic event as a grown-up, because the childhood PTSD tends to be a little bit more pernicious. Now, the good news is these patterns and survival conclusions can be changed. Because often when we bring these patterns and strategies into our adult life, it doesn't pan out well for us. And we end up repeating a lot of the things that happened in our childhood. Okay. Um, when we talk about successful relationships, we are talking about relationships in which the energy is balanced. And it's hard to be balanced when you are still struggling under some of these childhood scripts. Okay. All of us are feminine and masculine, right? All of us are yin and yang. This is part of the duality of the universe in general. But this has been proven. Raul was bringing up this earlier. Sometimes people want to argue whether or not yin and yang even exists. This has been proven in multiple spheres, so in multiple areas. And there's day and night, there's pain and pleasure. You don't have one without the other here on this planet. So as I said, everybody is both feminine and masculine, but we're often thrown off balance when we have these incidences in childhood that are traumatic. This throws us into a state, what's known as ego dystonia. And so it's messed somewhat with our access to our own intuition, to our own instincts, right? This trauma, because we have to sacrifice some kind of authenticity in order to attach to the people who are controlling our lives as children. When we grow up, we don't have to worry about that anymore. Then we can be our authentic selves and we can break these patterns. It takes consciousness and awareness and repetition. The brain rewires itself on pain. And so a lot of people don't understand that either way, you're going to experience some degree of pain. Like I said, you can't have pleasure without pain. So it's okay to have some pain. We don't want to add to that pain and make it worse with suffering, right? And so these tools, they're not going to eliminate your pain, but they will help you work through productive pain, which is the pain of change, as opposed to the pain of stagnation. Because pain occurs either when a change is taking place or a change needs to take place. And that's something that I help people with a lot, because sometimes that can be really confusing. And I think it's one of the lesser known aspects of spiritual and psychological work, that every tear needs to be shed. Every feeling that you've repressed needs to come up, and they will come up in layers. Oftentimes, as you start doing this work and you start having success, other issues will start to rear their heads because they want to come up for healing. They want to be resolved. Okay. So this state of ego dystonia, what does that mean? That means basically that if you're a feminine energy person, you get kind of stuck in your masculine energy. And if you're a masculine energy person, you get kind of stuck in your feminine energy. And then you go out in the world and you wonder why you can't match up with your complementary energy. But the truth is, the energy you're giving off is inconsistent. Okay, what am I talking about? Maybe that sounds really abstract. So as we get into these tools, you'll understand it a little bit more. But basically, that is what ego dystonia is. So for example, what I often work with are women who, and these are often very overachieving women, or women who are the oldest girl child in their house, and they had to take on responsibility at a very early age, much like the Wendy, right, in Peter Pan. And then when they go into their adult life, it becomes hard to move back into the feminine, which is more of a feel good to do good. Men need to do good to feel good. Women need to feel good to do good. And so a lot of women end up becoming burnt out, and they don't understand why they can't get a masculine man in their lives to take care of them. But because of the trauma, because of the dystonia, it's very hard to give up control. And then on the flip side of that, men who have either been spoiled or neglected, because both are considered a form of abuse, or in whatever way haven't been respected, haven't been enabled to take responsibility and make their own decisions, haven't had their thoughts heard and listened to. These men, the dystonic state for that is Peter Pan, right? So it's a man who the boy who never grew up. Right? So both Peter Pan and Wendy often end up single. So I help people a lot with that. Okay, I want to go into a brief definition of what feminine and masculine is, because these are energies. They're not necessarily consistent with the organs that you have, but they often are. So, but everybody's different. So, and these energies will change within us as well as we get older. Women tend to get more masculine, men tend to get more feminine due to hormonal drop-offs. Okay. And sometimes, you might be more masculine. For example, everybody's masculine at work, because masculine is the left side of the brain. This is the yang energy, right? This is competitive, conquering, controlling, taking care of, nurturing. This is doing, achieving. This is the world of ideas. Masculine energy is very much of this world. Masculine energy rules the stuff. A good metaphor for masculine energy are bricks, okay? Left brain, logical, linear thinking. Then we have the right brain. One is not better than the other, by the way, okay? So keep that in mind. The right brain is the feminine side, the yin side. This is the world of sensuality, sexuality, the world of feelings. This is the world of spirituality, of magic, of mystical journeys. Energy is in the world to make it fun, but it's not of the world. It's like air. And feminine energy is often expressed with metaphor of a flower. Now, people have, yin and yang is many thousands of years old. But people, and I mean, it's attributed to Chinese philosophy, but it's probably even older than that. I sent an email out this week about seeing yin and yang reflected in quantum entanglement, for example. And these principles you can see really reflected all around, everywhere. And it's interesting. If you guys want to look more into that, here, I'll put, so my favorite yin yang book, which is The Yin Yang of Life by Dr. Kim and Dr. Lee. So if you're into that, you can learn a lot about, they really divide everything like food and language and colors into yin yang. And so it kind of helps bring some of that understanding up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to put my credentials in. I work with men, I work with women, I work with couples, I work with teenagers. I do these meetups once a week. I also teach this work a few times a year. We're getting ready to start the module 1 coming up for the last time this year. That's going to be Tuesday. So if you want to sign up for that, that's the module packages link. It's kind of a unique opportunity, if you like this work, to go deeper into it, to understand a little bit more of the theory, and then we get to apply it directly to our life experiences. And it's really a transformative, it ends up being a really transformative group. Raul did it. Raul, do you want to say anything about it? Maybe he can't right now.
No,
But,
I can. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I really enjoyed going through the book on this topic. So, and it just reiterates the things that you pretty much do on the meetups. So,
right.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yeah, it really helps you integrate the information a lot better. And now you're going to start up on module 2, which is going to be my second book. So I teach my books. I've written 3 books on this work, which you can see, which are also linked here, I think. Yeah. Those are all available on Amazon if you want to look at those. But yeah, I teach the module 1 is really about the basics of this work and applying these basic principles and understanding them in relation to your life and life in general. So we kind of attack it from a bunch of different angles. So I'm really excited to start doing that. And again, that will be the last one of the year. So if you want to jump on it, do. Okay, that's my spiel. Now I open it up for questions. And I also love to hear your guys' updates. You can ask questions or about other people's work as well. It can be, my specialty is dating and relationships, but of course, these tools translate, like I said, to really any situation. So it can be about communication or something that happened with your family. Okay, Lee. Hi, Lee.
Help.
What's going on? How can I help you?
Help. I've had a rough 24 hours.
Okay, what's happening?
Last week I shared, well, I guess I met this person back in April,
Mm-hmm.
a coworker, and who I literally, I've never met in person and never even talked on the phone with. Our exchanges have just been over email as professionals. I just think very nice person. And there's been some friendly exchanges and plans to meet for coffee.
Okay.
And so last week, we confirmed we'd scheduled a date for today. We were supposed to meet this afternoon. Tuesday night, I sent an email to confirm.
Very polite. Good
Yep.
job.
I confirmed the coffee date. And yesterday I got an email back. And well, a couple of reasons this person passed, could not meet me, but the chief thing. Okay, how do I say this? Because I said coffee date in the email, that seemed to
Sorry, what? Because you said coffee date, that scared her?
let me see if I can phrase this. I'm trying to
Okay.
respect everyone's privacy. I don't want to get too detailed. I'm just trying to express what happened.
Okay. Well, why did she say no?
Okay, so I emailed on Tuesday to confirm today's coffee date.
Right.
All right. The word coffee date made this person uncomfortable. And this person said that they didn't want to sound presumptuous and that they had a boyfriend.
Okay.
So now listen, I completely respect that and I understand that. I really do. And I am very conscious of boundaries, and I think what's hurting me is, as I've used the word, like I'm kind of like a rescue dog.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's hitting that childhood wound.
it's the fact that I cannot use the words coffee date to confirm
No.
plans.
You
And it's saying
can.
that, but
This is good that she canceled.
yes, and she was, listen, she's super sweet, very polite. And there were other reasons. I mean, there was work on the plate. It was hot outside. It's a long drive for me. So, it's all good.
Right.
It really
Yeah,
is.
it's fine. Right.
I think what's hurting inside is sort of this. I have to tiptoe on these eggshells and pins and needles. I'm so afraid of every little word I say is going to be the wrong word. The fact that I used coffee date in an email really freaks me out, because
Okay.
now
Okay.
you see why I'm so apprehensive around women, because there's this backlash. I could be the nicest guy, but
No. Okay.
I
Let me
see
stop
coffee
you. Let
date,
me stop
somehow
you.
that's interpreted as date rape or something. It's like,
No.
so
She has a boyfriend. You have
right.
to take that at face value.
I do, but
She was, I mean, I don't know what arrangement she has with her boyfriend, but going to meet single men for coffee probably isn't in the arrangement.
well, I use the word coffee date with my guy friends.
Right. It's not a big deal. You did nothing wrongly. You did
Right.
nothing wrong. You did nothing wrong. I really want you to hear me. You did nothing wrong. You are going through the pain of change. You've been taking a lot of counteractions. Some people already have boyfriends. There's no way to tell that unless they're wearing an engagement ring or a wedding ring, right?
Exactly.
They're hooked up with someone.
I had no clue. And look, here's the thing that makes it really uncomfortable for me as a coworker, professional, colleague person. I don't want it to get uncomfortable for me, because I also saw this as a great opportunity just to network with colleagues, really. I mean, I wasn't just like potentially a date, just to get to know this person, really was all it was. It was
Right.
just, and so now I
So when
feel
she reacts like she won't even want to get to know you, I get it. But think about what you've just said. She doesn't even know you. So it's actually not a real rejection. Do you understand?
Yeah, and
It
vice
just
versa.
isn't. I know that you're compelled to look at it that way, and you feel really raw right now because you're going through the pain of change, which is called primaling, which is the work of Arthur Janov. But you're going through the pain of change, and so it's not really about what happened, because you and I talk about it. Obviously, who cares? She's just some girl. She couldn't make it for coffee. She has a boyfriend. Fine. Next. that, I know that in and of itself, but it's hitting isn't a big deal. It's hitting the childhood wound. And so intellectually, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but psychologically, you're doing a lot of counteractions. You're asking out women, you're using your masculine. You are not being a creep. I'm not going to let you slide back into that thinking.
Right.
You did nothing wrong. And, you know, it's funny you brought this up. You know, Raul was talking about something before we started that I had mentioned, which is that, you know, sometimes when I present this work to people, they are resistant, right? It's not for everybody. Not everybody's ready to look at their stuff.
Even
right?
though I've already responded, what do you think would be a good response for a man and like in my position? What's a good way to respond to this in the future? I was very understanding, apologetic, and
just short and sweet. Okay, got it. I understand. All bestly.
Okay.
Because you don't want to get into defending yourself. You only defend the lie you believe. Okay. So this isn't about what she thinks. This is about what you think about you and the messages you got as a child about who you are. Because she doesn't really matter. She's not even in your life. She's barely in your life, right?
Well, I know that. That's right. I just
so I'm proud of you. You did nothing wrong. You did great. You did not act like a creep. Now, here's what the creep move would be. Oh, come on, Danielle, or whatever her name is. Come on, Joni, or whatever her name is. Just, you can come out for a coffee. It doesn't matter. Let's just talk. You don't need to feel uncomfortable. That's the creep.
To push it would be
the person who doesn't hear no.
Right.
Okay.
Definitely hear no.
Right. So you're
I have no problem. I hear it.
And you did nothing wrong. Women say no all the time. They have a variety of reasons, you know? I mean, I'm always
I just got scared because of my professional relationship.
Of course, this is a sensitive issue, and you're gonna feel raw because you're making changes. But you did absolutely nothing wrong.
And this is a person I have a lot of respect for. I'm just barely getting to know this person. And I would have been just as fine, happy. And this person, she's not completely closed off. I mean, it would be more convenient when, to meet on campus when I'm working and in a setting where we can, just
we'll see how it goes when you see her. If you want,
cool. She's a super cool person.
If you want to ask her again and it's more casual, do that. Or if you want to wait for her to, because she's saying friends, so she can initiate that. It's not a big deal, right?
Yeah, I guess I just thought, in hindsight, I probably should have chosen different words than call.
No, because she's not. This is what I was trying to explain. She's not aligned with you for whatever reason. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. That's what I was trying to explain with the work stuff.
Right, but this is the 21st century. I'm a single, straight, white, Caucasian male. I'm the enemy. Don't you get it?
I do.
I can't. I have to watch every T and dot every I.
But you don't. But
yes.
Lee, you actually don't, because you're not offending anyone. You're not hurting anyone.
I know
you're
that.
cherishing women's feelings. You can rest easy in that. This is triggering, like I said, and we'll get more into this in the module, but this is triggering that childhood wound.
Well, it's
and I applaud you for counteracting it and taking counteraction.
It's been emotional these last 24 hours.
Yes.
And this is when
this is the work.
I go into flight mode.
Of course.
And I don't
feel really raw, but you're actually stronger than you think. And you're going to get over this pretty quickly, just like you got over the other thing. You're going to bounce back.
Yeah.
Because the pain of change, you get rewarded when you go through it. The pain of not changing, you don't. You just keep getting worse and worse. So you're
this is why I like these tools. I like it when I see the woman smile, which, by the way, this person did smile over a Zoom call meeting with all the staff. And And I reached out and, you know,
You did nothing wrong. It's okay to ask and it's
and
okay to say
it's
no.
just, it's been an email exchange. That's really all it's been. And so I'm like looking to build relationships with everybody in the industry, you know, just to be professional with everyone and build relationships across the board. It doesn't have to be romantic, you
Right.
know? And so, but I have to
Well,
be very careful. I mean, in this,
No, you're
in
doing
this day and
great.
age, it's,
You're doing
this is why
great.
so many men make the mistakes. I see them and the boundaries they cross, the attitudes they stir up, and I'm not like that,
Right.
you know.
You're
And I-
having, and I understand where you feel, where it's like, seems unfair because a lot of men are jerks and you're not. I do understand that. And a lot of women are jerks. I mean, nobody has the monopoly on jerkiness, right?
It's a comfort to hear you say that I did nothing wrong.
Yeah,
I
you
feel
didn't.
like I did. I feel like I did. And
You're
hindsight,
just uncomfortable.
I used the word coffee date in a casual context and it made this person uncomfortable. And I did not
That's
mean
okay.
that to be, and I said I was
You
sorry.
can't read somebody's mind.
You can't.
Even
You
if you're
can't.
married, you're not going to be able to read her mind. You know what I'm saying? Like you're
But
going to
it's
take
so
her out to
important.
Chinese food and she's going to say, I fucking hate Chinese food, Lee. Do
Yeah,
you know me?
but it could be, but it could be a friend, a coworker, or even a love interest. I want them to feel safe and I want them to feel comfortable in my presence. And when I use the word coffee date, I can see why she was questioning intentions with those words. And, you know, it's something that I mean, it's just, the
It's
lesson for me
okay.
is to be more mindful of, you know, in that context and just, I mean, I will retreat. This is why I take at least 2 to 4 months of talking to someone before I ever ask them out usually, because it gives me time to get to know the person. And, you know, but this was a 4 month exchange, almost 3 months. And
Yeah, you did
it
nothing
never
wrong.
came up. So I didn't, you know, I don't know. It's just like, this happened with the karaoke girl.
Yeah, if you're going to extend yourself, you're going to get rejected. You know, and it happens to everyone in all spheres of life. Nobody hits bats 1,000 all the time.
I
What
understand.
matters is the courage of continuing to show up, and you're learning your stuff now and you're exploring yourself and you're learning about who you are. And so, you know, I don't think you need to change anything.
You don't think I should stop using the word coffee date?
No, I think it's fine.
Because I use it.
Not an inherently offensive phrase.
I wouldn't think so either, but it
Yeah.
really shifted the
Don't
tone.
don't second guess yourself.
Well,
Okay. What did you want to add something,
Oh.
Raul?
go ahead. I'll pass.
No. No, I have my own story.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for
Okay.
thanks for the
There was
feedback,
another guy with
Chloe.
his hand up, but I think he left. I like to say coffee or tea and then let them decide, or coffee or boba. Okay.
No,
Well,
it's just sad.
let me recommend you say, I want to take you out for coffee. How do you feel about that?
I did the how do you feel about meeting for coffee or drinks, and she was fine with that. But then when I reached out on Tuesday to confirm, I used the term, are we still on for our coffee date on Thursday at 3? Thinking it would not
Yeah,
make
no,
comfortable, but it did. And I
I don't
didn't
think,
know there was a boyfriend, none of this. For 4 months, I had no clue.
yeah.
So I was like, and it really was more of a professional meeting. It was not really a romantic thing, but
It's fine. I
It's
fine.
I hope so. I'm freaked out, you know,
Yeah, you're gonna be fine.
and this is why I just want to
Try not to think about it too much if you can. Try to stop thinking about it because it's a small interaction. And I think even you and I have talked about it enough. So any thinking that you've done up to this point, you're done. Just move forward. Just forget it. You're not a creep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll appreciate you and have a good week.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you for sharing. I know it's painful. Believe me, I understand. When you get triggered, it feels really crazy and you feel really raw. And it seems like it'll never stop, but it does stop. And then then you'll wake up and you'll feel better and you'll be more confident. Okay. Raul.
Hi, Chloe. So
Hi.
yeah, hearing the brings back a lot of past experiences in my situation, and I don't know. I've encountered several women that will hold back the boyfriend thing until after they've, gone with me for a couple times or something. And then eventually they bring it out like, oh, by the way, I have a boyfriend. So I'm not sure why there's a delay that happened, but it happened to me like in a couple instances. And on a similar note, I got triggered this morning because I've been in contact with this lady to do a photo shoot. That's my hobby. And I was trying to line up a meeting with her. And she asked me, she says, well, let me see what your work looks like. And so I sent her my work, and all she asked about my work was what did I use to edit the pictures, and didn't really comment on the pictures at all. So later on, a few days later, I said, so do you still want to do the photo shoot? She says, oh, when I get back. And then I texted her a day later and said, hey, so how about doing this photo shoot? Then she comes around and says, oh, by the way, I think because you're a beginner that you should pay me for the shoot. And I'm like thinking like, at what point did she know she wanted to get paid?
Yeah, that's that bait and switch. Remember we talked about that.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Yeah.
that game bait and switch. So, both of those things that you've described sound very gamey. And so when you come up against people who are very gamey, it's just better to know sooner rather than later. Like if a girl's going out with you a couple times and then lets on that she says a boyfriend, she's in a game. She's playing a game. So the book on that is Eric Burns, The Games People Play. And it's a little dated, but it really is the manual of transactional analysis, and it has so many common games that people play. And so the first thing you described sounded very gaming, which is not disclosing the boyfriend. And then the second thing, well, now she's had a couple days. Now she wants to change the terms, right? That's the bait and switch, which is actually in business, that's technically illegal. I don't know. This particular incident doesn't sound like it was illegal. But, if a business advertises, we have $2 tacos, and you walk in and the tacos are $5, you can show them the $2 thing and they're supposed to rectify it, or you can take legal action. You know what I'm saying? So when you see that gamey stuff in communication, it's just good to know sooner rather than later. So just walk away.
No, I did. And so what I was trying to figure out, like, how to respond appropriately. And ultimately my response to her, which came to me after like thinking about it for an hour, was I just said, well, it appears that our interests are not aligned or not aligned. So I'll pass.
Great. Wonderful. Very good. Yeah. Keep it short and sweet. Because once you see that kind of red flag, there's like, there's no point in arguing with somebody that you're not building with.
Right. Yeah, because I think what triggered me was, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think what triggered me was the fact that she said I was a beginner photographer, and I'm thinking she doesn't even know me.
Right.
So,
right. She's just saying that as a tool for leverage. She's just, she's just trying to manipulate you.
Right. Anyway, that's my comment.
Okay. Very good. Thanks. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Okay. Does anybody else have a question? It can be about, where is that? Brett. Okay. Hi, Brett.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yay. Chloe, I always come into these meetings thinking, oh my God, I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to talk. I'm not gonna talk. And then people start saying things, and I'm like, oh my God, I got ideas.
Right. I love that about this work, because that's what was always my experience as well. Is like I'd be in these rooms because I started in a group that was in real life, but it was a woman's group. It was in Dr. Pat's office, and girls would come in and I would think, Jesus, I have nothing in common with this girl. She's got the boobs and the lips, and I'm sure that we have nothing in common. And they open their mouth, and then we have tons of stuff in common, and it happened all the time, where she's old or she's young or she's single, and I love that. Okay, so it's kind of like the magic of the group, I think.
Right. So yeah, I got a recent experience that I want to talk about, but I want to talk about Lee's experience, because I really empathize with what he just went through.
Mm-hmm.
And it really has to do with the post Me Too era, and that, like, it's almost like, I'm not gonna go so far as saying that dating in the work world is off limits, but dang, you gotta be so careful now. And because you, as a man, you can just get the finger pointed at you and you're toast, and so yeah, I get Lee's anxiety.
But you're not toast. I mean, I understand the anxiety about it. Lee,
one
I
one
understand the
complaint
anxiety about it,
one
but
so one verbal complaint can cause months, years of fixing to never fixing. Does that make sense? And I'm not saying that this situation warranted that. I'm just saying that I get the.
yeah, I mean, it's strange. It's like I'm hearing this a lot from the guys, but you guys aren't really doing anything wrong. Then I also, obviously, I hear a lot from women of situations where they're just, constantly being harassed, and yet they
Precisely.
have no recourse.
Thank you.
You know?
Thank you. And that is the point, is that it's the false accusation, right? So there is some stuff happening in the world, and it actually goes in both ways. Um
Yeah,
Men
I mean,
and do bad things. But anyways,
when you stick,
I
though,
just
I
wanted to
really want
mention.
to, I don't want you guys to be so fearful. Both of you and Lee, I know you guys are doing your work. I know you guys are trying to cherish women's feelings. When you're in that zone, you really aren't going to look. Anyone can say anything at any time. Somebody could come out and sue me right now for no reason. It, like, that stuff, that's part of the deal of just being on earth, right? And this society is a litigious society, get sued at any time. But, ultimately, if you're not doing anything wrong, you're not doing anything wrong. If you're not harassing somebody and pressuring somebody, then you really don't have something to worry about. And unfortunately, it's a lot of the men who don't have a problem, who are feeling really fearful and don't want to do anything. And who do have a problem, right? They don't care. They're not introspective. So they're just keep going.
No, I just wanted to voice that empathy for
Yeah.
what that's all. And but it did, yeah. And anyways, so my own personal situation,
Yes.
Chloe, I'm getting hit on left and right.
I told you, with these tools, you change your energy.
And I feel like a frog on a log.
A frog on a log, is what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you an example, okay? This happened yesterday at the coffee shop, and I had not gone to the coffee shop to work because my job is so demanding. I have to be on, it's all remote. I have to be on Teams, and I have to be on the VPN, and
Right.
anyways, I'm like, okay, no, I need a break. I need to get out, be in public, and I go out there, and this woman who had just recently moved from Arkansas was sitting next to me, like, obviously doing her like work meeting and everything. Finally, like comes back and is like, "What's up? How you doing?" You know, and she just starts off and like, you know, she was like, but all of a sudden starts this like, as I'm trying to work this hour or two long banter, and I'm losing myself in her blue eyes, you know.
What did you say about you? So did you like her?
Yes, and here's the problem,
Okay.
right? Is I was too focused on work and I was too focused on getting over succubus. I don't trust anybody anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know how women, when they hit on you, you don't hit on you overtly, they just position themselves to make it easy to ask them out. And
Yes, there she's showing you she's available.
Shazam, okay.
Yes.
And she did that like 5 or 6 times in a row.
Aw. Well, yeah, I mean, because a lot of women
And
are
to the
dealing
point
with these
where
scared men who don't want to make any moves because of Me Too, and so it's causing a lot of confusion. But yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And so here I am, like again, I got lost in her blue eyes, okay? And you know, all right, so I talked with her an hour or two. That's just an hour or two long conversation. But she dropped 4, 5, or 6 hints. I mean, asking me where I hang out, what other coffee shops I work in. Oh, I'm sure I'll see you again. Like
Okay.
all these,
But
you
that
know,
sounds good if you liked her.
thank you. But what did I do?
You fumbled the ball.
No,
Oh, what you
refused the ball.
you refused it. You didn't even take the ball. Okay.
I I I kept going with the banter, returned all the jokes, told her all this.
Didn't do the masculine action of
I
asking her
did
out
not
or
ask
getting
for her
the
number.
right.
I missed my cue to say, hey, you want to go out for beer?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm walking out and Chloe
So you had a Hamlet moment.
before succubus, I wouldn't have missed that opportunity.
Right. Well, that's your first step. You're aware of it now.
You know, and it's happening more and more and more and more. I,
Yeah. Because you're putting yourself out there energetically, but then you're having a crisis of confidence in the moment.
I'm having a crisis of trust.
Right. And look,
It
you're
has nothing
never
to do with
gonna
confidence in
know,
myself. It has trust. It has to do with trust with other people. And
but it also has to do with your confidence in picking somebody.
yep, I would
So
agree.
if
I
you're
would agree.
getting the vibe and you're liking the person, look, we're not gonna know maybe the first date. A good psychopath can fool you for 9 months to a year. Okay.
The succubus
But
is borderline.
you're
That's
in this group, you know me, you're doing this work. You know, as you learn more of this work, certain things, red flags will show up to you, just like what happened with Raul with the bait and switch thing, right? Right away, he could see, oh, she's not for me. It was a professional thing, but still, it was the same principle operating. So, yes, you're going to have to take those steps, or you're not going to meet anybody. You're not going to go out with anybody, right? Because that's the only way that, as you call her, succubus wins, is if that controls the rest of your life, right? This is just one person that I guarantee you, if we went deep with it, reflected, you always fall in love with your lesson. So I'm sure that this person epitomized a lesson or more than one lesson for you that
a
was
childhood wish. I can whittle it down.
exactly.
It was a childhood wish. Yes.
So
A
I don't know
childhood
what that
wish that
is. I
somebody
don't
would
know
do good
if
for
you're
me and help.
conscious of that. Sometimes you don't even need that. You can just keep going with these tools and you'll find out. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, you brought awareness. You didn't take the ball. You didn't run with it. How long are you going to do this for? How long are you going to let this woman that you dated before control the rest of your romantic life?
I
How
don't
long do
know,
you think it
Chloe.
will take?
I don't know the answer to that, but all I can tell you is I'm sick and tired. This is the 12th time I've gotten lost in some girl's blue eyes and not taken the ball.
Okay. So at some point, you're going to get sick of that. Bringing a lot of awareness, which is good. You haven't taken an action yet based on that awareness, right? That's respecting your thoughts. That's amping up your masculine. Doing that is going to increase your masculinity, is going to increase your confidence. Like it took Lee a while, right? It took Lee a while to start.
2 out of the 12 I did accept the ball.
Okay, good. So that's progress.
Yeah. So
So-
it's not like yeah, not like none of them, but I'm getting sick of like
letting yourself down. Don't do it next time. You got to bring a lot of awareness. And in that moment, just do it. It's very hard to see changes without taking an action.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got the awareness part. So now you have to take the action.
and what I'm doubly kicking myself about is that, like, for most guys, you know how hard it is for a guy to be hit on? You gotta bring a lot to the table. And obviously I'm bringing a lot to the table without my awareness to be getting hit on.
Mhm. Yeah, 100%. So you should, so that is a
And
victory
so-
in and of itself, right?
Yeah,
That shows
yeah.
you that you're making progress right there.
Yeah, and I'm also I'm used to it. It's happened before in my life. I get it. I understand it. What I'm not happy about is my own, I'm not even gonna say reticence or hesitation. I'm even gonna go so far as to say inability to take these women up on their offer.
It's not an inability because you can do it and you've done it 2 out of 12 times.
No, and I did it
And you were doing it before.
for
So
the
it's
rest
a
of my life.
reluctance. It's a reluctance.
Right now.
You
Like, does
right.
that make sense?
Yes. And sometimes we've talked about this before. Sometimes there's just that moment that's got to be pushed through where you're like, you know what? You talk to yourself and you talk back to your negative thought. You talk back to that limiting belief. Sometimes you can talk out loud. Sometimes people get freaked out by that. They see you talking about yourself to yourself, but you gotta take that counteraction. It's just that moment that needs to be pushed through. Oh, it's happening. Oh, she's hitting on me. Oh, here's my cue. Oh, I'm failing. Oh, I'm dropping the ball. You keep shining that light on it, you will take an action, because just like Lee said here, he's sick of it. He's exhausted of it. And so are you. And so when you get exhausted enough, you will make a change. But often we have to hit bottom to make a change because it's scary.
Yeah, and the curious thing about the hitting bottom was this one, she really had nice eyes, Chloe.
Well, it sounds like you know where she hangs out. So just go.
Yeah, well,
her.
but yes, I agree. And I did that today.
Good.
But you never know how the world works. Does that make sense? And missed opportunities can be missed opportunities.
Okay. And that
But
can
it really,
become its
and
own
I don't care.
spiral.
I don't
Yes.
care if I miss this opportunity.
Good.
I'm just taking this as a, like, dang it all, it's been a year since succubus.
Right. And this
I busted my knee playing soccer long time ago. It took me 9 months to walk straight.
right.
It
And it probably hurt a
over-
lot.
It did, and lots of physical therapy. Fine, I had a succubus in my life, and she wrecked me like my knee got wrecked. But a year's enough.
Yeah.
A year is
Agreed.
enough.
Agreed. So say that to yourself next time you hesitate. When you notice you're hesitating. And if you need to take a moment, excuse yourself for one moment and go to the bathroom, collect yourself, put some cold water on your face, garner up your courage, and get out there. And then when you come out of the bathroom, just say right away, hey, how do you feel about giving me your number? I want to take you out to dinner, or whatever it is. I want to get to know you better.
I'm well versed in all that stuff, and just to give you an update too, I told you about another woman that I hit it off with, and we did exchange numbers this time. Yeah, and then later found out that you know, okay, she's like going to dinner with a friend, and I was just like, all right, Shazam, all right, thanks for the info. Back off, no harm, no foul.
But who cares if she's going to dinner with someone else?
Correct. That's what I mean
That
by
doesn't
that.
mean you're out. I mean, you know, if
Well,
you don't have a commitment, please be dating around, guys. Don't get overcommitted to one person when you don't even have an articulated commitment.
correct. I totally agree. I'm just saying that the new information didn't cause any stress. That's all I'm
Okay.
gonna say.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But it's okay to be stressed. You know, you start to develop a taste for it. And I'm sure in those moments you start to feel a certain energy where you know something's happening and there's a challenge rising up, right?
Uh, this blue-eyed girl gave me energy for 2 or 3 days. That's how I know that I missed an
Right.
opportunity.
Right. Okay, well, good
I
luck. I
missed a
hope you
big opportunity here, Chloe.
okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay, D. D just said, sorry, Chloe, disregard, not able to speak, too much noise. I'll listen today. Okay, if you want, D, you can put into the chat your message, your question, and I could try to just answer it.
I can,
Um,
if Dee wants to talk, I can get off, Chloe.
Okay, no, she said she can't talk because she has a lot of background noise where she's at.
Oh,
Then I'm just saying to put it in the chat, maybe.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because my frustration is just a frustration of getting over the inertia of a succubus.
Right. And that the
Mhm.
great thing about that is that's you. That's just you. You have total control over that. Right. And it's just about pushing through that moment.
Well, okay. If I have total control, how am I not able to do it? What's the hint, Chloe? Where's the
It's listening, it's learning to respect your own thoughts. So when you hear that intuition that says, oh, she's hitting on me, oh, she's making herself available to me. Am I interested? Do I want to see her again? If the answer is yes, then you take an action on it. So for to respect your thoughts, you have to hear your thoughts first, right? Oh, I like her. I want to ask her out. Would be the thoughts. If
what I
you
meant
hear
was
those thoughts, then you're going to take an action on it.
agreed. Yes,
And the more you practice making decisions from that position, making decisions from the position of your own authentic wants, desires, thoughts, the easier that will become.
agreed. The question was, okay, so you know, and this happens once or twice a week. Like, I don't know why I get hit on so much, Chloe, you know, but I do. And
Well, your message is hitting you a lot. You know, things tend to keep repeating until you change your behavior, right? It's
But
going to keep hitting and hitting and hitting till you get it.
here's the thought pattern. Oh, okay, she's sending out signals. This is my cue to like, ah, ass, right? Why? I don't want to get hurt. And does that make sense? And that's the suck.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And
so
no, I don't think anybody wants to get hurt, but you have to put yourself out there. You have to risk getting hurt. That's the, that's the duality. That's the paradox of it. You have to risk getting hurt. You have to put yourself out there. There's no other way to do it. That's the duality I'm talking about. And especially if you want to be in the masculine energy, you got to ask her out. You got to take an action.
Oh, in other words, now I know my knee has healed enough where I know what activities I can do and not do. I can run around, still play soccer with my son. I can, you know, it's a
Right.
bunch.
You're going to be doing that, right? If
And
you
I
want to play
know,
soccer, then you're going to go out and do it.
and I know what I can, and I also know what I cannot do. I trust myself to judge what I can and can't do with my knee.
Right.
And it's so I need to trust myself what I can and cannot do with women.
Exactly. I said this to you before. I think you get so much out of the module. If you want to sign up for it, we're starting Tuesday. Think about it. because I think it's a really good time for you. But, you know, it's just understanding some of this work, understanding some of the theories, underpinning some of what you're doing, I think will help you to take actions in a way. You know what I'm saying? Because you're an intellectual guy. You like to think about things.
Yeah. Also action oriented. My entire life has been an action oriented, but like I do seem to since succubus, that seems to have been damaged. My action oriented nature seems to have.
Yeah, you took a hit.
Yeah.
You took a hit. And that's what happens. But, you know, a lot of times people are like, well, why does it have to be so bad? Well, why does people have to be so miserable? Well, you have to have something to work against. That's how you grow. If you have nothing to work against, you can't grow. That's why people come to this planet. I mean, that's like very esoteric, but you have to have something to work against. So succubus, whatever she did, she's something now to work against. And you're going to end up, that's the alchemy of this work. You're going to end up stepping on her head and leveling up to the next person. And that's going to be better.
I like that image.
Good.
Okay, out of everything you said, that was the because
And I mean, even, you know,
that's really, I hate to say it, but like I had to go into therapy over this stuff. And like even the therapy, like everyone's at a loss. The image you just gave me, step over on her head, level up. Boom. Because that was it. How do I get over this? How do I get past this? How do I heal from this? Step over it. Step over her if need be.
yeah. And we've talked a little bit about it. I mean, I know that there were times where, you know, you ignored your own thoughts about it. You ignored your own intuition about it. And you're not going to do that again. So, you know, as much as you can practice your intuition and acknowledging your thoughts and then acting on them, that's all going to help you. Does that make sense?
It does. So yeah, stepping over and past, stepping on the head of that experience, not even succubus, leveling up. But also, yeah, I think I also just need to trust. I've met so many great people and so many great new friends have come into my life recently in the wake of all this.
Yeah, not everybody's an asshole.
No, it's only 5 to 10%. Right? Maybe 20%.
Well, the word is, I mean, you know, 80% of people are sheep, 10% are good alphas, and 10% are bad alphas. So,
And a succubus is
in the 10% of bad alphas, right?
yeah, the like soul suckers.
Okay. Okay. Well, excellent work. You're making progress. You're seeing the problem. You've honed in on it. So you know what the next step is. It's just bringing a lot of awareness. Really, enough awareness will get you to change. You know. And that's ultimately like, you know, how a lot of these, a lot of diets that work is like, you're supposed to just really tune into how you're feeling when you're eating something, how you feel after when you're eating something, how you feel during, you know, a lot of it is cultivating that awareness. And I know you're a spiritual guy, so, you know, if you want, you can, you know, amp up your yoga and meditation, or, you know, do mindfulness exercises that will also help you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm still stuck on your step over a step on her head to like level up, but yeah.
Right. Okay.
I was still thinking about that one.
Yes, keep that image. You know, that's a
as
really good image. And look, like I've said at the beginning, or you weren't here, but you know, I've been doing this work for over a decade. This is how it works. If you keep at your work, the next person you find will be a level up. And a lot of times people come to me and they're already in a relationship. It's the same deal. Either this relationship is going to level up, or the next person that you find is going to level up. Okay. Okay, so I put into the chat, I'm gonna wrap it up. I put into the chat my credentials again, so you guys know how to reach out to me. If you want, you can. Okay. Okay. Here. You can reach out to me through my website, which is through an email. I can set up one-on-ones, we can do a module. This is the last module coming up, they're starting next week for this year, but I'll keep the wait list open anyway, so after that, there'll still be more happening. I think you guys maybe know this already, but I'll make an announcement. So I'm gonna be doing these modules for the next month, and then we'll be doing these meetups until Thanksgiving, and then after Thanksgiving, I'm gonna take a break, but I'll still be available for privates during that time. You guys can reach out to me a number of ways, either through Instagram or through Meetup or through my website. As I said, even a quick question, if I can, I'll answer it. If it's not, then I'll tell you that we need to set up a session. But I really like to help people out in the moment that they're struggling, because that's when people need help. And that ends up being the most efficient, both economically and time-wise. So, reach out if you need help. And if I don't hear from you, I'll see you soon. Thanks for coming.